I got introduced to programming when I was 12 or 13 years old, and ever since then, I've been hooked. I mainly got into programming and started really enjoying it because I wanted to learn how to make my own games. I think every 12-year-old male at the time, or even today, likes video games and may really get excited about the idea of creating his own video games, and that was me. But the journey of learning how to code on my own from being a kid wasn't easy. And this was mainly because, one, I didn't have access to the right material. Two, I was alone. Nobody in my family was ever talking about computers, let alone programming. So I had to figure everything out by myself. And three, I was very young and I did not know what to do. So I know learning alone can be very challenging, especially when you do not know where to start, you do not know where to go, and you do not even know what to learn. And this is something that I struggled with a lot, especially starting from such a very young age. You go on the internet, you type how to get started with programming, you see a countless amount of articles, a countless amount of videos teaching you the same thing. You keep wondering, what video should I play, what should I learn, where should I start from, and then you end up being confused and ultimately giving up. But in my case, I didn't give up, but I spent a whole lot of time trying to find what to learn. I didn't even spend time learning at the beginning. I was spending a lot of time trying to find what to even learn. Since I wanted to learn how to develop games, I did not know about game engines, I did not know about 3D modeling, I did not know about anything. I just thought that games were just coded from the ground up. So I started to make research on how to make games, and this was way back when I was like 12 years old, and I found out I could learn games by programming. So I started to find out how to program games. That's when I got introduced to C programming, Visual Basic. I remember that I found a code written by someone, I don't really know the person. It was actually a 3D field written in Visual Basic, and I downloaded the code and tried to understand it myself. And surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly, I didn't understand anything. I didn't even know how to run the code. I did not know what was an IDE. I mean, I literally knew nothing. So at the time, all my time was spent going through research, trying to do research, learning which programming language I should learn. Then I came across this software that helped make video games. I don't remember the name, but it was this software that helped you build games without programming. So I downloaded the softwares, I tried to build some levels. It wasn't really fun because I wasn't really learning anything new. So I kept on making research. I think I spent a good amount of time making research, and that's why when someone comes to me and asks me how to get started with coding, I'm like, if you do not know how to make research, I'm sorry, but you have a lot of difficulties because there's a lot of research that goes into it. So I did research until I finally came across 3D modeling, game engines, and coding. That's when I started learning how to model things in 3D, in Blender, Maya, all this kind of stuff. So I was just making research, learning new things as I go. And one thing I like about my past self, that is when I was a kid, was that I wasn't scared to learn. I wasn't scared to try new things. I wasn't scared to get my hands dirty. I remember I would take my mom's laptop in the night when everybody's sleeping to learn how to code, to learn how to do 3D modeling and all those kind of stuff. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Up to today, I'm grateful that I did all those things because those habits stuck with me till today. I'm really never scared to learn anything new, to like start from scratch, be a beginner. So eventually I kept on learning 3D modeling, then eventually got into video game development, learned about game engines, started using Unreal Engine. I mean, I'll not call too many game engines if you do not know about game engines, but basically there are softwares that help you build games. So I kept on learning programming just for the sole purpose of building my games one day, and it kept on and on until 2018 when I realized that I really loved developing games at the time, but I realized that it won't give me money and I won't be able to really create substantial value in the world just by building games. So I decided to drop game development and go full into programming. So after I finished high school, registered for a computer science degree to learn computer science, I wasn't taking school too seriously, and I don't know if there's anyone who actually learns how to code from school, but I wasn't understanding anything from my professors. I was always sleeping in class. Even to today, I sleep in class. I actually do not really understand when something is being explained to me. I like making my own research and reading things by myself and understanding stuff like that. So to learn programming programming in 2018, I did the same thing I did when I was younger. That is, I went out of my way, did my own research, found the right resources, and just started learning. So I'm not going to lie. Right now, when I think about all the concepts I've learned, I can say programming is easy, but I'm not going to lie. At the time, I had a lot of difficulties even understanding basic concepts. People around me looked at me, thought that I knew what I was doing, but I really did not know what I was doing. I was just trying to cope because the people around me knew way less than me, but I didn't also know a lot. So I had to really do the extra effort. I had to really spend a lot of time learning. There was one point in time, I think in 2020, that's 2 years after. I'm not really good at tracking time when telling a story. So 2 years later in 2020, when I was learning, at one point I was spending about 6 hours a day coding. But guess what? I wasn't really understanding anything. Like, I'll spend 6 hours trying to understand a concept, trying to build a project or something, but I won't understand anything. I really got frustrated. Before I started being ultra focused in learning how to code, I thought the only thing that I needed was to spend more time learning or to spend more time coding. But I realized that that is not enough. Only dedicating time to the craft is not enough. You need to put in place systems and methodologies in order to help you to do the task better and in order to help you to learn faster. So there's this one classmate of mine who was very good at programming. So I just texted him one day when I was like really frustrated. I didn't really know how to learn faster or just to improve. So I just asked him that, bro, please, can you just give me one single advice? I don't want to take much of your time. I just need one single advice. I really need to improve. I didn't really expect him to give me any detailed answers or anything, but he gave me an advice that helped me throughout. Like, it really unblocked me and took me to the next level basically. So basically what he said is that I should be patient. I should try to go step by step, because at the time we're learning Java in school, so we had this book that was divided into chapters obviously, and at the end of every chapters there were like 30 exercises for you to practice. So I realized that when I was learning, I was trying to go through the chapters, do the examples, then go to the next chapter. But the problem now was that when I go to the next chapter, I haven't understood what the previous chapter has taught in depth. So I always got stuck. So what he told me was that I should be patient. After every chapter, I should do at least 15 exercises. I shouldn't skip steps. I should do everything step by step. It's a gradual process. That advice that day, it sounds so obvious, but trust me, it's very difficult to practice if it's that you do not really understand the concept very well. So as he just gave me the advice, something just told me that, nah, this guy knows what he's saying. Let me just follow this advice. As I was already coding 6 hours a day, I increased it to 8 hours a day because I already started getting the hang of what I was doing as I started implementing what he was saying. So after every chapter, I'll go step by step, doing every single exercise. I nearly did, I don't know how many exercises I did. It was during like Easter break, Easter holidays. So instead of spending my time going out during Easter break, I'll spend my time coding. So it really helped after the Easter break. I felt like really, really more confident than I felt before. I wasn't that good, but I learned more than I already knew. So I was better than I was before. So after the break came the last semester exams. I did really well in my exams. Then came third term holidays. Since I learned Java during the Easter break, I decided to dedicate myself during the summer break to learn front-end development. That included HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.js, all this kind of stuff. So even that was very difficult at the start. As I said, just following the little systems and methodologies are going to get you to what you want to get. I did my same things as I was doing before, did a lot of research, spent a lot of time coding, go step by step, doing a lot of exercises. And then at the end of the holidays, I finally hopped on my first project. That was Oramo. I've talked about it in other videos, but it was my first project. I did it with React.js. Using my knowledge of Java, I built the backend entirely in Java. And that is how after building the project, I learned a whole lot. The project is even still up right now on the website. I eventually learned React Native and built the app and published it. So just using the same methodologies as I told you previously, making a lot of research, spending a lot of time coding, going step by step, doing exercises, and then I also added reading documentations into my framework. So I just kept on doing this until I built the mobile app version and published to the App Store. I'm making this video just to show you how, if you want to learn something, you do not need to spend a lot of money on courses. But the only thing when you don't spend a lot of money on courses is that you have to be disciplined, you have to be ready to do research, you have to be ready to get your hands dirty and do the work by yourself. there is nothing like an ultimate method on how to go fast. It's not a fast process. It's a slow, gradual process that takes time, takes dedication and courage, and all those buzzwords. I even lack words to explain it. So if you're struggling right now, if you're trying to find resources, this is the only time in history where information has been democratized. Before, information was only reserved to the rich, the elites, all those kind of high people, but right now information is readily available to whoever wants to access it. The only thing is that you have to go out of your way to make research, to be patient, and to go step by step. Since the problem of not knowing where to start and having to make a lot of research in order to get started has always been a problem for me since I was young till today, I have then decided to address this problem for anybody who is in the same situation like I was, or I usually am when I want to start something new. So I've built a platform, oralearn.com, where I organize free resources, free courses, all those kind of stuff in a course-like manner and a very structured path for anybody who wants to get started into a programming, game development, any tech concept. I've organized all the resources so you can come and start. You do not need to do endless research on which language to learn, which ID to install, all those nitty-gritty stuff. Everything is already there. All you need to do is just to come and register, get started, and start learning. So hope sharing my personal experience with learning how to code and getting better was helpful to you. If it was, just leave a like on this video. You can share it and subscribe, and see you in the next video.